Hello and welcome into the next edition of the Danny Sancomb Show. With me today, as always, head coach Danny Sancomb, right before going to IUP tonight. So tough test, but thank you for taking the time here before hopping on the bus and making the short trip up to IUP.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So it's been a while since we've last talked. We'll just basically run down the list of the games since the last time, starting with Lockhaven, a game out there on the road, a tight win, 78-74. What was your just thoughts on the game as a whole? Looking back on that game now a couple weeks.
Pretty consistent to, I think, who we've been thus far this year. We played really well for a period of the game, and then there was a period of the game we didn't play particularly well, and we were able to hold off at the end and make enough plays to get the win. But it was a struggle down the stretch for us for sure. Good teaching moment, always a little bit easier to teach after a win, but we made some mistakes down the stretch that we need to clean up when we're playing in close games down the stretch, and I think we will moving forward.
Yeah, looking back at the play-by-play from that game, had about a 14-point lead with 15 minutes left. They're feeling pretty comfortable, but then Jordan Gessner and Colin McAdams both pick up a fourth foul with about 90 seconds left in the game. And with the bench being what it's been all year, pretty limited options there. How much of a challenge is it for you for a coach knowing if this game goes in overtime, these guys pick up an extra foul, I'm going with a really limited bench to work with in that kind of scenario?
Yeah, knock on wood. We've been fortunate this year to have such a young team, but to limit our silly fouls, so to speak, and to lose a player like Colin and Jordan, if they foul out, it makes our bench, that is mandated that they're going to have to go out there and play. So we're going to put somebody that's very inexperienced out there that is a little bit behind those two guys. So we worry about that. I think if we can put our guys in the bench at the right opportunity, they can be successful. And we try to find that during the game at some period because we got to get our guys a little bit of a rest. And I think the 14-point lead shrinking down is due to a little bit of fatigue as well. I think that played a little bit of part in it as well.
Okay, looking back at last Wednesday, making a short trip to UPJ, an opponent and a coach in a venue you're quite familiar with. What's it been like seeing Coach Riccovino make that jump from the Mountain East, then the Wiviac, to PSAC and still doing what he's done so well for so many years here? Yeah,
good friend, great coach. They really hard to guard, pass the ball well, always have a good skill set. And he's the type of guy that his teams are always similar. He's going to recruit a specific type of player, and they play systematic basketball, and they're very good defensive team as well. So we knew it was going to be difficult. We were playing for a lot, though. It was a big game for us because if we won, we could have had a tie there for fourth place, I think it was. And we didn't play particularly well that night. I was a little bit disappointed. I felt like we've played very well for about the last 4 weeks of the season. It kind of brought me back to our trip to Millersville in Westchester, where I just didn't think we performed very well. And Pitt Johnstown was ready to play because it was a big game, and they jumped on us early and often and kind of put the game away early in the second half where we really didn't have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, you said they got on you early there. They started the game on a 12-0 run, but in that game it also led to Cal shooting 31 three-pointers. Cal can shoot the three, but you don't really want to shoot 31 three-pointers in a game. But when you're that deficit, you're sort of stuck in that position to look for those kind of shots.
Yeah, and that's what they do well. They play a pack line defense. They make it difficult to drive, and they kept us on the perimeter and really forced us to take the threes that we did. And 31 three-point shots for us is just too many. That's not a recipe for success for us.
Yeah, the Mountain Cats last year graduated a pair of first-team all-conference players, and they got 3 freshmen in the starting lineup, and Cal had 2. What's it say about the West with those two teams being so young with 5 freshmen? And again, if Jermaine Hall's starting, you're looking at 6 freshmen starting in that contest.
Yeah, I think it says, a bright future. Obviously, they're winning games currently. They've got a good mix of players, and they got talented players. Their freshmen are very good players, and the future's bright for them. And I think, with us, our future's bright, though. When you look at it, maybe the record, we want it to be better. But we've played so many young guys this year, and they've battled thus far. And, when you're playing games with 6 and 7 guys, it's difficult, especially when you're having, 3 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior play. It's been interesting this year.
And then basically looking at you played at UPJ last Wednesday, you're like, okay, go back into playing Saturday against Seton Hill. Then the winter storm advisory comes through and changes all the plans. What was it like for you telling your guys, okay, we're shifting everything around a couple days back. We're still playing Seton Hill, but now it crunches the time frame of how to game plan for IUP?
Yeah, it makes it a little bit difficult this week. It's nice to get the rest, a few extra days before you play, but on the back end now you're going to play 3 times in a week, which is difficult for everybody. It's really difficult when you have 8 guys dressing. So we'll have to use some of our bench a little bit more this week versus IUP and Mercyhurst on Saturday. So we've weathered the storm. We had a good practice yesterday. It was solid, but the time we were able to go just isn't a normal time because we want our guys to be fresh, hopefully today at 7:30, ready to play.
Yeah, and looking back at the Seton Hill game, we got a nice lead early. We're hitting a lot of shots, but then Seton Hill just started chipping away at the lead and then making it a game where it was decided in the last few seconds of the game, last minute of play basically, with Colin making a great shot and then just coming down to free throws. Seton Hill made it, Cal missed it. Just talk a little bit about the last minute there.
Yeah, I think the last minute of the game, really happy. Kind of go back to what I said to you at Lockhaven. I didn't think we finished the game well at Lockhaven. On the end, though, we didn't get the result we wanted. With 12 seconds and a young basketball team, we had a great look, which we got fouled. Our guys executed the play very well. We just didn't make the first free throw, which made us have to call a timeout and try to miss the second one just because the time was limited. I didn't think we'd have enough time if we made it to get the ball up and get the type of shot we could. So I was proud of our guys from that standpoint. I think part of our fall off was a little bit of fatigue too. We jumped on them really early. Had a 12, 13 point lead in the first half, and we just kind of hit that wall midway through the first half, and they chipped away, and they were able to take the lead. And I think the last minute of the first half, we finished very strong on a 4-0 run to cut it to 2, and I think we jumped out in the second half. We took the lead, the first 4 minutes, and then we hit that wall again, and we got to be able to fight through that. And it's as much mental now as physical, and we've got to build in both of those areas.
Yeah, we're looking at the highlights right now from the contest, and Colin McAdams continuing his strong play. In that game, he finished with 17 points and 9 rebounds. But even the game before, he had 20 points and 17 rebounds, including a handful of offensive against UPJ. What's it like for Colin having to step up with Jermaine Hall out, being the one post present? Now, stay out of foul trouble as best he can, but still impact the floor both offensively and on the glass. Yeah,
and Colin's really stepped it up this year. We've asked him to play out of position this year to be our 5-man. He's a 3-4, to be honest with you, but he battles every day. His work ethic is great. I've enjoyed coaching him so much this year because he brings it every day. What you see out in the games, him battling play after play, is what he does in practice. And he's playing more minutes than he should this year, but it's really going to help his development as a player as we move forward because he's just doing a little bit of everything. He makes the open threes. He's really hard to keep in front. He's just really tough matchup. And then he rebounds the basketball very well, and he distributes the ball when he needs to. He's a good passer as well. So we're really excited about him this year, and we think his future is very bright.
And in the game against Seton Hill on Monday, Zion Collins led the team with 23 points. Just finds a way every game to get in that rhythm and get a bunch of shots off right in a row, and he keeps making them at key times. Can you just talk about what he means for the team offensively at this point in the season still?
He's been awesome too. Zion is he fills the box score every night, and he's a player that doesn't need to score to impact the game. He can block shots, he can rebound, he can get easy shots for his teammates. So he's very, very talented player, and he's really played great for us this year as well. Those two guys has been as good as any freshman in our league this year, and they've been consistently up to this point. They've been very consistent where we're expecting them to produce, and they have at a high level. His shooting is improving. He's working at that, but his ability to get in the lane and finish with his length is what his bread and butter is, and he does that very, very well for a freshman.
Yeah, you referenced Zion and Colin there. Colin actually just named PSAC West Freshman of the Week on Tuesday for the second time this year, so it gives Cal 4 Freshmen of the Week so far this year. It just talks about the youth on this team. We'll take a quick break here, and then we'll preview tonight's game against IUP and also look around the league, both in the PSAC West and the upcoming schedule. Welcome back to the Danny Sancomb Show. My name is Matt Kafir. Again, I'm here with Coach Danny Sancomb before he gets on the bus to go to IUP tonight. But before then, we were just commenting. Again, your first year on campus. A lot of people maybe not know, but you're a Maryland native. And you and I both received good news last night here with the announcement of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Mike Mussina, former Oriole and Yankee, but for your mind, more of an Oriole. Can you just talk a little bit about what you remember about Moose and also about being from Maryland, the teams you rooted for growing up down there?
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Mussina was great for the Orioles, and I hope he goes in the Hall of Fame as an Oriole because he was outstanding with them. I know he won a championship with the Yankees, but he was just a staple night in and night out. You knew he was going to pitch very, very well. He pitched on some bad teams and won 19 games, 18 games pretty much regularly on teams that struggled to finish above 500. And he was just great. I remember getting his autograph when I was younger, and he was just a great Oriole. When you think about the great Orioles, you have Jim Palmer, Brooks Robinson, Cal Ripken. Mike Mussina should be thought in there with Frank Robinson, and we're really excited, obviously, that he's going into the Hall of Fame, and he's very deserving of that.
Yeah, Mussina, for those who don't know, in the PSAC has ties to it, being from Williamsport. So he's a Pennsylvania native already. He's in the Little League Hall of Fame, but also his son, Bryson, is the starting quarterback at Shippensburg. So an interesting tie in there to the PSAC with Mike Mussina being a native of the Commonwealth. And also, the blue today is not necessarily for Roy Halladay going in as a Blue Jay fan, but again, it doesn't hurt either as well. So it's pretty nice to see Doc. Again, unfortunately, he can't be there to see it. But again, Roy Halladay and Mike Mussina both made our nights a little bit easier last night, seeing them get the call for the Hall of Fame. But tonight, back to the action. IUP comes in at number 4 in the country, year in and year out. Coach Lombardi has them up there at the regional level and national level. May not have faced them much in the past since he's been there, but what have you seen from the outside before joining the PSAC, the kind of program the Crimson Hawks have?
We had made it to the NCAA tournament 2 of the same years that they did, and we didn't play them, but we were scheduled to play if we both won. And obviously scouting and so forth, well-coached basketball team. They always have great talent, and they play so well together. And their roles are very defined. Their players understand what they're supposed to do, and they stay within their role. And that's why they win, 23 to 30 basketball games a year. So we've got our work cut out. They were 3rd in the country until they lost to Slippery Rock, and I feel that they're probably the best team in our region this year.
Yeah, looking again at their roster, a lot of familiar names. It all starts, I think, with Diaz in the middle. He's a 4-year starter. He's been a Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, averaging 20 and 10. What kind of matchup problems does he maybe present for opponents with his skill set and size?
Yeah, he's so skilled. It's unbelievable. When you're 6'9", and you can shoot the ball at the level that he does, it makes things difficult. But what I think he does as well as anything is he passes the ball extremely well. And when he gets the ball in the middle of the floor, it makes things very difficult on the opponents. And then defensively, they use his length, and they're very creative with that in their 1-2-2, 3/4 court and half court to make it difficult to get into your offense. They have the ability to switch with him on ball screens because he can move his feet. So he's a really big part of what they do offensively, but I think an even bigger part what they do defensively, his versatility.
And again, the offense for them, again, we'll run through Lombardi, not the head coach calling it, but his son, Dante, running the point guard again, 3rd year in a row, the starting point guard. Again, you've coached Brent for 2 years, and you've had a bunch of point guards in the past who've been all-conference performers. What's it like knowing you have a point guard you can trust so much and so well, and then also the idea you coached him his whole life growing up and those kind of challenges that present with that?
I think, coaching your son is probably going to be a very difficult thing, but he knows what to do. He's been there for 4 years, but he's been around basketball his entire life. He's got a high IQ. He's a very tough kid. He has the ability to score the basketball. I think he attempts about 8 threes a game, so he can shoot it when he walks into the gym. And then he, leads their team in assists. I think he has 133 assists on the season, and he makes guys better on the floor. And I think that's what you want with your point guard, somebody that can score the ball, but also understands, when you have talent around you, to get them shots where they're effective, and he does a really good job with that. And then defensively, he's just tough. Like, he gets loose balls, he's diving on the floor, plays with a real edge. You could tell he's a coach's son. He just has that attitude when he plays.
Yeah, another player who's in the lineup now, he was their sixth man last year, Malik Miller. Between him and Lombardi, they combined for 93 pointers a game. And for a team that plays zone because of the bench, like we've discussed before, what kind of challenges does that present for you with Diaz still being able to take it into the inside and shoot from the outside as well?
Yeah, that presents a lot. Miller can score the ball as well. He's an efficient player on the perimeter that can do a lot of different things. So he's a tough matchup. So, their ability to shoot the ball, when you're on defense, you want to limit space. That makes it very difficult because you have to respect those two guys when they're shooting the ball. So that will leave some areas for some guys to cut. And we've got to be very active, pressure the ball, make passes difficult, and try to keep the ball strictly on the perimeter. I think that's, if we're going to experience any success, that's what we're going to have to do.
Okay. Before tonight's action, let's take a look at the current PSAC West standings now, since everybody's actually played their game from the weekend. You see IUP and Slippery Rock tied at the first place there. IUP was rolling undefeated overall until the Slippery Rock loss. Cal's already seen Slippery Rock. Till, again, one of the top players in the league, and proving why he's going to be an All-American candidate the way he's playing, even though he's injured right now. But then Mercyhurst and UPJ both tied for third at 6-4, and then Gannon and Cal right there 5-6, 4-7. With 6 teams making the PSAC, you want to get a nice, comfortable lead there at the 6th spot. But again, the young team just taking every game you can. I'm sure just working one game at a time, instead of looking to see, counting ahead of, okay, here's this team we got to play Mercyhurst on Saturday. You're looking straight ahead right at IUP tonight.
Yeah, it's cliche, but, we are going to focus one game at a time for sure. Mercyhurst presents different challenges for sure. We'll get ready for them. We'll have 2 days to prepare for that. But our focus right now is obviously on IUP, and if we're not focused on them, we'll be in big trouble tonight. We got to be ready to play and understand what they're going to try to do, and we want to limit that as much as possible.
Yeah, and again, tonight's on the road, then coming back home on Saturday, Mercyhurst. But we'll take a look at the upcoming schedule here for the Vulcans as they close out the first half of divisional play. Again, tonight at IUP, 7:30. You can listen on CUTV and WCAL, and then home on Saturday against Mercyhurst before, again, hosting Clarion on Wednesday. Then beginning the second round of PSAC West play. Different order than how you played them the first time around. But as a coach, what's your thoughts on playing divisional schedule, playing everybody twice, one time home, one time away?
Used to it. In Mountain East, that's what we did. We played everybody twice in the league. So I like that. I think it makes the second time difficult for sure because each team's going to have a very good idea what the other team's going to do. I think it will boil down to execution and toughness, and that makes it challenging. But I like, going through some of the games that we've played, some ideas have popped into my mind that will give us a little bit better chance, I think, next time we play the teams. And we'll have to make some adjustments offensively and defensively, and so will our opponents. So I like the ability and playing both teams home and away. I think that makes it for a good league, and it's going to be competitive and makes it difficult to beat a team twice in a year.
I think it's also interesting, too, by playing home and away, you get a chance to see every venue. So come tournament time, if you do have to make that as a 6 seed, you travel up to the 3 seed, something like that. It's already a venue you've played at least this year once, so you don't have to go somewhere new, especially with all the freshmen and yourself being to different arenas for the first time. It's got to give you at least some confidence and some ease. You get a schedule and routine of, okay, this is how long it takes to get there. This is where the locker rooms are. This is where post-game's going to be, that kind of thing. Yeah,
which has been different for me this year. We're going into gyms, and we're relying on guys that played last year. We don't have a lot of them, but I think the locker room's here, and we're trying to figure all that stuff out. So you're right. Going through it will make it easier if we are fortunate enough to make the tournament. We have to travel somewhere, and we've played there. I think anytime you're in a situation that you've been somewhere before, it makes it a little bit easier. Okay. Well, Coach, great. Thank you for taking the time again today. I know you're going to have a busy night and a late night traveling up to IUP, number 4 in the country, Crimson Hawks. But again, you can follow all the action tonight, 7:30 on calvulcans.com with links to WCAL and CUTV feed, plus live stats from IUP. For head coach Danny Sancomb, I'm Matt Kafir. Thanks for watching.